Welcome to Wildcat Science with Mrs. Haugo. This is Human Biology, Chapter 3, Part 3. And previously in Part 2, we talked about movement that does require energy, like active transport, and bulk or vesicular transport, like endocytosis or phagocytosis. And two examples are phagocytosis and pinocytosis, or endocytosis, exocytosis. We talked about isotonic solutions that have equal concentrations inside and outside of a cell. Hypotonic, where there are fewer solutes outside of the cell. A cell will burst, so it shouldn't be in a hypotonic solution. And a hypertonic solution, where there are more solutes outside the cell, and a cell will shrink, and so it should not be in a hypertonic solution. We did our checkpoints. We talked about protein synthesis, DNA, RNA, nucleic acids, how DNA makes up chromosomes, and a section of a chromosome that makes a protein is called a gene, and then the process of making a protein starts with the DNA, where it unwinds and makes an RNA strand, and then it goes to the nucleus, from the nucleus to the ribosome, where it is read and becomes an amino acid chain, and then that folds up into a protein. We did some checkpoints, and then we talked about meiosis, which is how sex cells divide, and somatic cells divide by mitosis. And then we talked about the phases of mitosis. Interphase is before mitosis, and then prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. And we did some checkpoints, and then we're ready to talk about cell aging and cancer. So cells only divide a certain number of times before they die, and programmed cell death is called apoptosis. And you want your cells to die when they should, because unchecked cell growth is cancer, and we want to avoid that. So if there's a mutation that causes the cell to reproduce without control, that causes cancer, that mutation. So talking about cells and cancer, some reasons for cancer, one of them is heredity. Some cancers are more frequent in some families. Breast cancer tends to be one of these, where there is a gene, and if you have that gene, you are more likely to develop breast cancer. Chemicals, there are some chemicals that are called carcinogens, and that makes it more likely that your cells will mutate, and then you'll have cancer. So tobacco is a very common carcinogen, so don't smoke. And asbestos is also a known carcinogen, so that's why asbestos is removed from buildings. Radiation, so high energy electromagnetic radiation like UV rays, so wear your sunscreen, because the UV radiation can over time mutate your cells and cause skin cancer. And then X-rays, so they often will have you wear a lead vest when you take an X-ray, so you don't get any extra radiation. Also interestingly, physical irritation, so like having a hot pipe on your lip every day can cause more likely that you'll have lip cancer. Diet plays a big role, so making sure that you are eating lots of fruits and vegetables, because the antioxidants in the fruit and vegetables are good at making it so that your cells are better at repairing themselves and don't have mutations or catching a mutation, and getting rid of it before it causes cancer. So eat your fruits and vegetables. And then some viruses are related to certain cancers. For example, HPV will cause cervical cancer, and so there is a vaccine for HPV for young people, and I would suggest everybody take that, because we could essentially get rid of cervical cancer, which would be great. So let's revisit Jim and figure out what happened to him, and we'll do that in class. So our Chapter 3 notes are done, and you did a great job. Thank you. Bye.